Here we are, Center 2, Air and Sound, ELF.
All right, Center 2, Parachute Plunge. This is an outdoor center, and with this center, your goal is to explore how air trapped in a parachute slows the speed of a falling object. This center, again, is best performed outdoors. If it's really bad weather, you can use the atrium as long as there isn't anybody doing study groups. If there's people there, you could also use the stairwell at the south end by the library stairwell, but you have to be really, really quiet, and that's probably really hard to do with parachutes. So, all right, so you're gonna take, to start with, you're gonna do a demonstration, and you'll have 2 sheets of paper, and you're gonna crumple one sheet, and you're going to fold one sheet flat. And then you're going to ask students to make a quick prediction, which do you think is going to fall faster? So they make the prediction, and then at the same time, you could have the students even count you off, 3, 2, 1, you drop them. And the crumpled piece fell fastest. Well, why is that? Why would the crumpled piece of paper fall faster? The answer is that this flat piece of paper has more surface area, and so there's more space to trap, or to trap the air as it falls. The air goes right around the crumpled paper. This one, the air gets trapped. So that's a quick demonstration. You can repeat it lots of times. And again, the crumpled paper has less surface area, it falls faster. The flat paper has more surface area, it falls slower. So that relates to then the parachute, and you're going to have the students build parachutes in the younger grades, kindergarten for sure. I suggest that you build the parachutes ahead of time and spend more energy flying the parachutes and discussing what traps the air well and what doesn't. So, and also ahead of time you should check on the supplies. We have, you can either build your parachutes with pine cones, which you'll need to go out and collect yourself. There's some places by the USGS building at School of Mines. If there's not a lot of snow, there's places all over, I think, where you can gather some pine cones. Along the creek trail, there's some pine cones. And then if you don't do that, there are some washers, a couple boxes of washers. But you should check ahead of time. Make sure that you've got all your supplies. So,
Do they need to supply their own bags as well?
yes, you'll be building parachutes out of Safeway bags, reduce, reuse, recycle. And so, bring in your own parachute bags. You just need enough for one for each kid, because they'll get to take these home when they're done. In addition, ahead of time, you should cut string up so that there's enough that each kid has 4 12-inch pieces of string, or a little bit longer. So
if you're not going to pre-make the entire parachute for them, you need to at least pre-cut the string.
yes.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. So what you're going to do to build your parachute is take a plastic bag, and you're going to just cut the handles off. And then you'll take your string and you'll tie it on to the 4 corners of the parachute. A simple double knot will be fine. You do that on all 4 corners, and then you tie it to your pine cone. The easiest way to tie it to
That's
your
right
pine
behind you.
cone, thanks,
Yeah.
I think, is to take 2 of the strings that have been tied to your plastic bag, 2 at a time, and wrap it around the pine cone, and just tie another double knot. And then you take the other 2 strings. And I'm not tying all these on, I'm assuming you guys can figure out how to do that.
Yay, elf parents.
So, and your finished product, it's kind of like the Food Network, only better. Your finished product is that you have a pinecone parachute, which obviously needs someplace taller than me to drop it from. So option 2 is a washer, and you would just tie the strings onto the plastic bag and tie them onto the washer. So after you've built it, you'll be outside, and you can go on top of the playground equipment on the upper playground, or at the bus on the lower playground, and you will fly your parachute. And go ahead and let the kids, before you fly the parachute, you might want to ask them what they think is going to happen, make some predictions. Where's my notes? So after they've dropped it, you can start talking about, well, what makes it fall? And the answer to that is gravity. And then how do parachutes slow the pine cones down? The air, just like the air got trapped in the flat piece of paper, the air gets trapped in the parachute, in the surface area of the parachute, and it slows down the force of gravity. It pushes against the force of gravity. So then, if you're feeling, here's my third pine cone. So then, you might take a regular pine cone and a parachuted pine cone, and again drop those, and the prediction should be, well, of course the parachute should be taller. But the one without the parachute is going to fall faster than the one with. Again, why is that? The parachute's slowing it down. Then you can also discuss, well, what makes a good parachute? And in the box there are various materials: a piece of fabric, a piece of burlap, this netting, and then saran wrap. Anything you want to bring from home that you would want to show to help experiment with what makes a good parachute material would be great to add to the discussion.
So with those example materials, that are going to actually make one, or maybe just drop those pieces of fabric or those pieces of burlap?
As a volunteer, you could make some parachutes ahead of time. I would, if it was my center, I would make some extra parachutes ahead of time, and then you could fly these too, and that would help show what works better, what doesn't. You could make a parachute with a bunch of holes in it, and one without, and again that would show why it's important to check the safety of your parachute.
So when you get to the Elf Box Center too, you might find all kinds of made parachutes. So definitely give yourself a little extra time on the setup of the center to make sure you have everything you need.
Yeah. Let's see. So lastly, kind of relating back to our environmental theme, you might want to spend some time talking about what kind of parachutes animals and things in nature have. Birds have their wings, and that traps the air. Flying squirrels have the flaps that help trap air, help them glide. Those adaptations that help things that fly use the air for their survival. There you go. I think that's about it.
Okay, this is the end of Center 2. If you have any questions, you can email us at mitchellelf@gmail.com. Thank you.